We've already taken a stab at building a budget EDC. Let's do it again. What's going on, everybody? This is Lamar with MFN Research, and today we're gonna build another budget EDC. I had fun building the last one, and I think I got it under $100. This one I'm gonna up the budget just a little bit and give myself $150 of wiggle room. This was kind of expired. I wasn't really gonna do a budget EDC video, but they're fun. And I was inspired by Surviving the Daily's channel. He did a March Madness video where every week he had a different budget EDC that he was working with. So check that out. I'll link that in the description. That was pretty fun. And then there's been a couple from the channel EDC Central Oregon that he's had a couple budget EDCs as well. So wanted to try it myself. They inspired me. So thought I'd give it a shot as well. So like the last one, I like to give myself ground rules. Since most of them haven't changed, let's go to previous Lamar and take a look at those ground rules. One, I'm going to try to show you a couple options at a couple different price points along with some of the things that I'm carrying right now. Two, after I make a selection, I'll put the running total on the screen so you can keep a track of that to see how well we do as far as keeping close to $100. Three, some items come in multi-packs, so I'm only going to use the unit cost. That way it makes things simpler, makes things cleaner, and trying to figure out how much things are going to be for this dedicated kit. If you disagree with that method, let me know in the comments. Four, I'm going to include any discounts and price savings, coupons and things like that that I can find at the time into the price total. Of course, I'll have all the links to the gear in the description. I'll also link the videos that I reference in the video as well in the description, so you can go there for that as well if you want more info. And last up, I'm not counting phones or AirPods or anything like that, so they're pretty much a given, so I'm not gonna worry about that. And I decided for this particular video, since this is my second budget EDC video, I thought I'd give myself another ground rule or constraint, and that's gonna be to simply any of the stuff that I had as an option or that I selected in my budget EDC video last time, I can't use it this time. So it has to be all new stuff from that video because it'd be simple just to pick a lot of that stuff from last time. So first, and probably the most challenging thing to put together in an EDC kit and staying on a budget is your multi-tool. So with these, I went in two almost different directions on the multi-tool for consideration. So first up, I've got the SOG Power Pint, recommended by plenty of the viewers on this channel. And then I've got the Work Pro 18-in-1 multi-tool. I don't think it has a name other than that. The SOG is popular, needs no introduction. There's tons of reviews on this guy, recommended highly by the folks that watch my videos. And I picked it up at that suggestion and I've loved it so far. This is one, it's smaller, but it comes in around $40. So one thing with these guys is this one is around $20 and they both have about 18 tools, very similar tool sets. This one just has larger tools. So the challenge in these areas would be, do I want the smaller, more compact tool set, or do I want a larger multi-tool to handle certain tasks and cut down on a couple dollars? One of the biggest things I use on a multi-tool is the scissors. I was a little bit disappointed on the scissors on the Work Pro. Looking at them compared to the SOG Power Pint, they aren't too much smaller. So I wish something along the lines of like my Next Tool Mini Sailor, but since I used it in the last video, I couldn't have that in this one as well. Honestly, out of the two on a budget, I would have went with that one, but because I gave myself the constraints, I've got to go with one of these two. So this is what I'm considering. So on this guy, you got your can opener, your flathead, your scissors, you've got a saw, not serrated blade. You've got your knife, and then you've got these scissors that for some reason always give me a hard time putting them down. There we go. I'll figure it out one day. And then you've got your file. You've got your serrated blade. You've got your mini screwdriver. That what I did like is how this guy is nestled right in there. I do like that. You got your little seatbelt cutter and all that stuff. One thing though that's interesting is I don't really care for a seatbelt cutter on a multi-tool. I'm not going to, in one of those situations, be trying to get to a seatbelt cutter in a multi-tool. So that's what this guy has. And then going through this one real quick, you've got another blade, you've got an awl, you've got just a very mini flathead, another seatbelt cutter, you've got a file on this guy with a little bit of an edge right there. You've got your Phillips, you've got your bottle opener? I don't know. I think it's about, yeah, this is a bottle opener. I don't use this one, so I don't know. You got your can opener, you've got your serrated blade, and then you've got your scissors right there. And then don't forget, you've got your pliers. And one thing that this one has, that this one doesn't have is you can put your bits right there. So if you got a bit set, you can put them right in there and use it just like that. So these are the two I'm considering for the multi-tool. All right, so next you gotta have a power bank to keep your text charged while you're on the go. I think last time I took the assumption that we weren't gonna do that. I can't remember. I have to look at the old video and see. But this time I wanted to have the ability to charge my tech while I'm on the go because I want to use this kit all day if I'm out by myself. There are 3 power banks here. One is missing, so we'll talk about that one first. It's the Anker Zolo. It's a 10,000 milliamp hour power bank. I actually bought it for my daughter, so I don't have it right now. She has it with her. I just trade one of those with her for the time being. I'm sure she won't mind letting me hold it. So next up, I've just got, and we've talked about these a few times before. They have a nice thin footprint. This is the Oskang. This is the 3.5 milliamp hour power bank. Comes in right under $20. The Zola, I forgot to mention, comes in around 16 bucks as well, depending on where you're looking. And then one thing I do like about this guy is 1, it's thin. 2, it has its own built-in power cable that I was messing with earlier. So next up is this one. I've been using this one for a little while. This is the NIU power bank. It has a cool little dog foot, and that's how it actually tracks the charge. So as they're gone, I think it's about half gone right now. So if you notice those go down, that means that's how much battery I have. So I guess you could say I have roughly around 60% battery left on this guy. So I do like this one, but unlike the other two, the Zola and this one, you have to bring your own charging cable, but this one is also 10 milliamp hours as well, and I like this form factor. So last up, I got this guy not too long ago. It was actually, when we talk about cost and budget, in this one didn't cost me anything, relatively speaking. So I would consider this one free. When I found this one online, it was $30. It was a qualifying gift with another purchase. So for me, it didn't cost me anything because it came with something I was already gonna buy anyway. So that's what I'm gonna consider it as far as cost, but just know that if you're gonna pick it up, it's usually around 30 bucks or less. And so what makes this one different from the other 3 is this is the only one that has Qi 2 wireless charging. So the reason why I was excited about it is I'm not a fan of wireless charging, but I really want to see if Qi 2 is really all it's cracked up to be and is that much better of a charging solution. So these are the 3 chargers. 4, forgot the other one that's not on the table. These are the 4 that I'm going to decide between. All right, so going into flashlights, there are 3 flashlights here, but just like the power banks, there's technically a 4th option, and we'll get to that in just a minute. So we're gonna start with this one. This one I bought at the end of last year to go in my nutsack EDC. This is the one I've been carrying most of the time this year. This is the Woobin E7. It's the only, technically the only right angle flashlight on the list. It's got a magnetic charging base. It's got the option to have some accessories to turn into a headlamp, a couple other functions. You can extend it. You can make it a larger flashlight if you want to. You've got some headlamp controls and all that good stuff. So this one is probably the most versatile on the list as far as flashlights go. I like the size of this guy. I like the option to add other accessories to it, and I like the 90-degree angle of it. So you can clip this and have it anywhere you want, really. So this one does some of the stuff that this one does, but it's cheaper, smaller footprint, definitely not as well built. It's just a little cob flashlight. It's magnetic. It has a little kickstand right there. So I thought this one was one to add. It even has a threaded base, so you can thread it to, you know, your tripod or something like that. You can clip it to your bag just like you can clip this one. And, you know, primarily when you're using a flashlight, you're using it to find something that you dropped. And this one has a nice flood of light that you can use to find stuff. So I do like that. And I will mention the Woobin is dead. I forgot to charge it last night. So all the other ones should work okay, but the Woobin is dead. I was using it yesterday. So, and then the next one, technically the next 2, this is the Sofern SC13A. And then there's also, if you want to save a couple bucks, the SC13. So the only difference is with this one, the A, you can play around in the settings and the software and modify some of the functions if you want to. The other one is just the straight features that you get. So if that's important to you, that's a difference of about $6 or so. I don't think there's any other differences, but I do like this little light. I like the small footprint. I like that, you know, you have the nice ergonomic thumb rest. It is waterproof. It's very small, but you don't have that 90-degree like you do on this one and technically this one. And you do have a magnetic base on this one as well. Forgot to mention, this comes usually in a pack of 2, so you can get these around for the unit price of $5 a piece. usually $10 total. This one you can catch right under 30 bucks 9 times out of 10. This one, I don't think I said 24 bucks. And the regular Sofarin SC13 is around 23 bucks. Last time I had a Hank in the video was one of my options. I'm gonna nix the Hank this time and go with something a little different. Usually when I'm trying to have a Hank, it's usually either to wipe my head when it's sweating or to clean up a mess on like a kid's face or wipe a stain or something like that. So with a Hank, you can do some of that stuff, but you can't do all of that unless you put a little bit of water on it. So what I decided to do instead is go with these 3 more disposable options to just kind of use those in and out as I want to, and to try to bring the price down a little bit. So first off, I've got the Dude Wipes. They've been around probably since the beginning of my channel. I've had them in tons of kits. I've shown them tons of times. Definitely a fan of these. I actually learned that I prefer these in the individual set over the ones that are in a big pack, just because they're easier to manipulate one at a time. So this is one option. Again, looking at unit price, I'm gonna say this is about 50 cents per for 2, because you can usually get a pack of about 30 a piece. So using that, you get about 50 cents per 2. So I would have 2 of each one of these if I went with an option. So next up, and it's probably the cheapest route, is a collapsible wipe. I've shown these a couple times. I have these thrown throughout my kits. I've actually got a canister over here somewhere off screen, and they just come in a pack like this of 10. There's usually 100 of them, so 10 of these canisters. But for the sake of this, we're only gonna use 2. So that comes out to about a quarter. So looking at that unit price for what we're gonna use and add into our kit. And so last up, what we've got is a unique thing. It's relatively new to me. They're called hand pops, and there's different names when you look for them on Amazon and stuff like that. But basically what they are in the center here, and I'm not gonna do it right now just because I don't wanna waste it, but it basically takes one of these right here in this center right here. And if you notice, there's liquid all around here. When you press this down, you'll hear a little pop, you wait a few seconds, and then it'll expand. So what you have is the benefits of these with the moisture of this in this little disposable container. And then what you can do is if you can't throw it away where you are, you can just shove it in there and save it until a point where you can get it thrown away. So these are my 3 options that are gonna replace Hanks. Looking at these together, they're about 70 cents for 2. All right, so now time to pick what I think is a staple of most EDCs is the knife that you choose to carry. So first up, I've got this guy. This one needs no introduction. This is the Ozark Trail knife that you can get at Walmart. The $10, they call it the Benchmade Bug Out Killer or whatever the case may be. For $10, it's not a bad little budget knife, and it's one to definitely consider. All right, so sticking in the budget knife category, I've got this guy. I picked it up. It's the Flissa Tanto, probably one of the biggest pocket knives I've carried, the biggest folders for sure. So definitely a good size blade right there. Something that might be interesting to carry as well. So this liner lock as well on this guy. So this is what we've got as far as another option for the budget knife. It has a larger footprint, so if space is a concern, that may be something you want to worry about. So with that in mind, going the complete opposite end of the spectrum, this is one of those guys that Key Unity sent me. This is the KK 08. It's a carabiner knife. So this one you can just clip on your bag or your pouch or your pocket and just have a very tiny blade right here. It's not a locking blade or anything, but it's a cool little blade. It's one for opening your packages, cutting string real quick, those quick little tasks, and I really like it for that. So it's a good little knife to have on you if you need something to cut real quick. So, and I love this little carabiner action. So definitely if you want to go smaller in the budget route, this is one you can go with as well. So didn't touch on it. This one is 23 bucks. It is titanium. This one is around $10 all day. This one is 13. And if you want to take it to the other end of the spectrum and technically bring your knife cost down to 0, is you can take the multi-tool that you incorporate and use the blade on that. And I just got the blades exposed on the 2 multi-tool selections that we have right here. And that's another option as well, is you can just use that blade, forego carrying a knife altogether, and just use that, and that would bring your cost down to 0 if you want to do that. So for me, something that's in my EDC that's important is a pen, either to take notes with or sign documents with. So I've got 3 budget options here. I've got the one that needs no introduction as well, the Write in the Rain Polka pen. What I like about this one is it's small, it's lightweight, but then it closes to about half the size and it's nice and small and compact. This is the pen I've talked about a few times. This is the Uniball 1. It's a little bit bigger, doesn't post into a full-size pen, but I just love how this pen writes. I love this little belt clip, this little clip right here. And I just think this is an awesome pen. I've already got some refills on order for this guy, so when the ink runs out, I can just add more ink. I was trying to decide if I get more refills or just get more pens. I think I'm gonna actually end up doing both. So do like this pen. And to keep unit cost in mind, this one's $3 per, and then this one is $6. They're usually individual. This is usually a pack of two packs of 4 on up. And then next up, I have a curveball. I like writing in fountain pens, so I thought even with a budget option, I thought about picking up a Lamy Safari or something like that for this, or the Kaweco, however you say it. Sport, I think it is. The Sport, I think it's around 24, 25 bucks. But I was messing around, looking around, and I found this guy. This is a fountain pen by Zebra. Doesn't really have the same fancy nib. It gives you that nice fountain pen feel for a fraction of the cost. So I've been using it. It's about $6. So these are my pen options. So I think last time on notebooks, I went with just a folded sheet of paper on the budget category. This one's gonna be a little different. So to go with the poker pen, I got the little Write in the Rain, Wallet and Gold, the little mini guy that you can take with you. The pages tear out. I think this is the dot one. I can never tell. No, this one's just the unlined one right here. So got a 6-pack of these. They come in right around $2.25 a piece. And then I was wondering if I wanted something a little more substantial along the lines of my journals that I use every day. So I picked up some of these guys. These are like a knockoff of a Leuchtturm, or however you say the name. I can't remember how you say the name right now. I have to see it written. I don't know. The other notebooks that aren't Moleskines. So got one of these guys. I think there were a pack of 2 for about $4.50. And so they just got, you know, your little spot right there. And they've got a little pocket back here. And a pen loop. And so this one's the thickest. It's hardcover, but I think it has the most pages. So that's the trade-off that you have when you got stuff like this. And then last up, I've had a traveler's notebook for a while. I don't use it all the time, but in thinking about this, I was thinking about a good budget notebook to add to it that doesn't take up too much space and is an alternative to a field note, which I featured last time, would be one of these guys. These are just the inserts for, this is the passport size traveler's notebook insert. So you could just use something like this. And another thing I thought about is if you want a more footprint like this, you can cut this guy in half and have 2. So these are my 3 notebook options, because if you got a pen, you gotta have a notebook to take those notes with. So this right here represents the part of my EDC. There's no other options. Real quick, I'm just gonna go through what's on here because this is going in regardless of which option I pick. It's just a little grid organizer. I've got a Bic on this side. I've got some Tylenol right there. I've got my Canuck tweezers right there. I bought a new set just for this video. So I've got another 2-pack of these guys. I've got a little Key Unity fingernail clipper because those are always good to have. And then I've got a couple Zyrtec because we're getting into allergy season. And I'm gonna put my eye drops right there. I just forgot to put them in for this video. And then the other thing I was trying to think about is storage for, you know, files and things like that. So I'm just gonna roll with my iCloud storage on this guy and not add that to this one. Here's what we have right here. And of course I have links to all this stuff in the description. All right, 2 categories that I skipped would be the wallet. Not really a big wallet guy for a couple reasons. One, if you take the mini notebook, you actually could just put your cards right back there and that would serve you just fine. Or what I've usually used is different pouches for my wallet. So if you've seen any of my pouch videos, you'll see that I use that in place of a wallet. I've been using the Zero Few lately, and I just picked up a couple from Alpaca, so I'm gonna be trying those out here soon. So not really a big wallet guy. I'd rather have a wallet pouch. So not really gonna feature anything like that for this particular video. And then keys. I only usually have 1 key and a key fob, so I don't need a whole key organizer for that. So if you want to pick up something that I recommend for keys, something from Key Unity or Night Eyes would be pretty cool. I think they have some good options and they're pretty affordable. So we're not going to go over any of those options, but no, I've tried some and I'd recommend them. All right, so now that we have all the contents, we have to find something to put it all in. So I've got 3 different options with 3 different solutions here. So I'm just gonna walk through them. My initial thought was to just go with the Viperade. This is the VE26. So that's where I was leaning towards, because anytime I'm thinking budget and budget organization and pouches that have a mix between budget and quality, I'm gonna go Viperade all day. We've got tons of Viperade stuff. Some of it doesn't work for me, some of it does. So this is where I went with this guy. Funny thing, as I was looking, something that was recommended was this. This is the Sayram SP7 wax canvas. It's a belt pouch. I've never really tried a belt pouch before, so I was thinking maybe this is a different carry method other than something like this that you maybe put in your pocket. And so this just has the loop right there that you can hook something to, whereas this has the whole setup on the back to attach stuff. It's got a waterproof zipper here, waterproof zipper there, and it just gives you a little more space. And you can see all the scratches. The wax canvas is a pretty cool feature. I'm a sucker for wax canvas, so when I saw it was wax canvas, saw it was 12 bucks. This one's under 25 bucks. Thought it'd be something to add in consideration. This one was gonna be one of those areas where there was really gonna be no debate between them. It was probably gonna be a debate between 3 different Viperade pouches, but looking on the Viperade website, I saw this guy. Had another idea for this and thought about using it for something else, but then I was like, hey, why not just use a small crossbody instead of a pouch for this particular video? So I found this guy. This is the Viperade CHW2, and you can get this all day under $20 with the coupon or something like that. So this is the third option. So 3 totally different options for storing the EDC gear for this particular kit. I've got a pouch, a belt pouch, and a small crossbody sling. Gonna put it all together and you'll see what I picked, and I'll go through why. Hey, I hope you're liking the video so far. Don't forget to like, comment with any gear reviews you'd like to see in the future, and subscribe to MF for Research. Any support helps grow my little small corner of the EDC community. Now back to the video. All right, so here's what I went with. Let's go through it real quick and let's talk about why. I'm starting with the pen, fountain pen. Had to try a fountain pen. It's zebra. You can't go wrong with the zebra pen. So wanted to go that way. And the reason why the other 2 pens were short, I liked the fact that this was a more full-size pen and I could put it right here in these belt loops. So one of the things that did help influence some of the decisions was the synergy between items. And that's important to figure out when you're packing your EDC. This one, I wanted to go with the Sophern light. And my plan was when I needed that 90-degree light, I would put it there just like that. But in use, wearing the bag as a crossbody, this was kind of like an illuminated nipple. And I didn't like that. So we went with this guy instead. It's already 90-degree angle. It just worked a little better right here. In this side, I would usually keep my key fob and my AirPods. Don't have them in there right now, but that's usually what goes in there. Going to the back, I went with this notebook. Just a little hardcover journal right there. So I wanted something a little more substantial, write a little more notes. And if I'm on the go, I wanted that firm surface to be able to bear down on, and it gave a little structure to the back of the bag. So that's why I went with this one over anything else. And that's all that pretty much sits in here. And I think I actually might do a review on this little crossbody sling later on, because I liked it a whole lot more than I really thought I would have. Definitely a nice surprise. So now let's go on the inside. The other cool thing that made this a little different than the Viperade pouch, the little belt pouch, I could fit my phone in here, but this one, I could fit my phone in here, no problem. And that was almost it that went in this part. So now going through here, I don't have it right now. I would usually use this for some cards. Right there, my driver's license, a couple credit cards will go just right in here, right and open. I went with the Basis battery bank, or Basus, however you say it. I wanted to try Qi 2, and by going with this route, I didn't have to have an extra cord. So that's why I went with this one over the Osking, which did have its own cord. I wanted this one just because the Osking is only 3,500 milliamp hours. It is a smaller footprint, but because I went with this bag, I had a little extra space. So that's where I went. I went with these, the little hand pops. These things are awesome. They're one of my new favorite little pieces of EDC kit. They take what I like about the collapsible wipes and turn it up a notch. So that's why I went with that. And like I said, my phone just went in here. This was the little setup of all the little things that I didn't really have options between. I remembered to put my eye drops on here for this part of the video. So that's that part. I went with the Flissa knife because one of the things thinking about it is when I was trying to put together a budget EDC, one of the challenges I had to keep telling myself is just because it's budget doesn't mean you have to get the smallest one possible. I may come back in the future and do a micro budget EDC to see what kind of constraints I can put on myself and do that. And I just thought it was pretty fun. And getting used to something like this, like I said, just getting used to that flipper. I still need a little more work on this guy, and it's really fidgety. So just working with a knife of this size, something that I'm gonna have fun practicing with over the next few days or so. There we go. I'm gonna figure it out one of these days. So definitely went with this guy. Like it so far, real sharp. So nice little budget knife. So with everything, I got it right around $120 with $30 left in my $150 budget. What do you think I should change? What do you think I should upgrade or add with my budget? This was kind of fun. I think I'm gonna do another one to see just how far down on the budget we can go. With some of these other options, I really could have saved a lot more money. So I want to put that together and see what a nice comprehensive kit is going to be. Again, check out those videos that I referenced in the beginning that inspired this budget video. Check out my first budget EDC video. Put them all together, find some stuff that you like. You can put together a pretty solid EDC that's not gonna cost you an arm and a leg. So check those out. Let me know what you think. As always, I'm Lamar with MF Research, and I'm out.